In this video, we'll be taking a look at 2 college football games happening on August 31st, 2023, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 2 picks for each game, 4 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 2 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Nebraska versus Minnesota. The Nebraska Cornhuskers travel to Minneapolis to take on the Minnesota Golden Gophers in a Big Ten West matchup at Huntington Bank Stadium on Thursday evening in their opener. The Cornhuskers will be looking to shake off their disappointing 2022 season with new head coach Matt Rhule. The Golden Gophers finished last season with a 9-4 record, good for a second-place tie in the Big Ten West. The Nebraska Cornhuskers were 4-8 last season, and they finished 3-6 in the Big Ten. Nebraska started the season with a wild loss to Northwestern in Ireland, and it snowballed from there. Nebraska picked up wins against North Dakota, Indiana, Rutgers, and Iowa to end the season. The Cornhuskers did lose 5 of their last 6 games, but did play Minnesota tough last year, losing 20-13. Jeff Sims transferred in from Georgia Tech, and he will play quarterback. Sims can also use his legs to make plays, which is something Nebraska missed last year. The Cornhuskers do return Anthony Grant at running back, who rushed for 915 yards and 6 scores last year. Nebraska lost their leading receiver from 2022, but they do return their second leading receiver and a couple of transfers. On the defensive side, Nebraska will need to be better than they were last year. The Cornhuskers started off last season by allowing Northwestern to move the ball up and down the field on them, so it won't take much to have a better outcome here. The Minnesota Golden Gophers were 9-4 last season, and they went 5-4 in Big Ten play. Minnesota suffered losses to Purdue, Illinois, Penn State, and Iowa, 3 of which came in 3 consecutive games in October. The Golden Gophers played Syracuse in the Pinstripe Bowl, winning by a score of 28-20. Minnesota lost a good amount of production from last year, so it will be interesting to see how they do early in the season. ncaa will be under center for Minnesota, and he did get a little bit of experience last year, throwing for 946 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. The Golden Gophers' leading rusher is gone, but Sean Tyler is listed as the starter. Minnesota's receivers should be solid, but can Kalagmanis get them the ball? I think Minnesota will have another solid season, but they may start slow in the first couple of games. Minnesota lost 3 of their last 5 games against the spread to close out 2022, and that was before losing their top 3 offensive players to the NFL in the offseason. Despite their disappointing season, the Cornhuskers pushed or won against the spread in 5 of their last 6 games overall, and pushed or covered in 3 straight games on the road. Nebraska has also won 4 of their last 5 games against the spread against Big Ten opponents. New Minnesota quarterback Kalagmanis was ranked 67 out of 69 among Power 5 quarterbacks in the nation by 247 Sports, and he came in last among Big Ten field generals. Minnesota comes into this game as the favorite to win, but both teams will look pretty different than they did last year. I am excited to see Jeff Sims play at Nebraska, as he had the ability to be an electric player for Georgia Tech when healthy. Nebraska's defense is definitely a concern, and Minnesota should be excited to start the season against it. I do think Minnesota is going to struggle in the first few games, and I also think Nebraska will be able to move the ball. With many significant questions for Minnesota on both sides of the ball due to player exits and the trends supporting the Cornhuskers, most signs point to Nebraska keeping this one close on the road in the season opener. So the Nebraska Cornhuskers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. 3 of the last 4 matchups between these 2 squads have gone under the point total, including a game that saw only 33 points in total scored at Nebraska last season. The Golden Gophers went under the point total in 3 of their last 4 games in the regular season, and 23 points or less in 5 of their last 7. After losing several key offensive players to the NFL during the offseason, including their star quarterback and running back, the Golden Gophers may struggle to put significant points on the board. Their defense was stingy at home in 2022, allowing 13 points or less to their opponents in 7 of their 8 games at home. The Cornhuskers went under the point total and managed to score only 14 points or less in 4 of their last 5 games of the 2022 season. With both teams breaking in new players at key positions on offense, most signs point to a lower scoring affair in Minnesota on Thursday evening. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Florida versus Utah. The Florida Gators travel to Rice-Eccles Stadium on Thursday night to take on the 14th-ranked Utah Utes in a non-conference matchup to kick off the regular season. The Gators finished last year with a 6-7 record last year and lost in the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. The Utes last season finished 10-4 with a loss in the Rose Bowl. These teams faced off last season in the first week, and Florida picked up a 29-26 home win. The Gators and the Utes will meet in a rematch of an incredible game last season. This time in Utah. Florida went 6-6 last year under first-year head coach Billy Napier and ended the season with 3 straight losses, including one to Vanderbilt. The Gators are more optimistic in year 2 with their new head coach, but they are replacing first-round NFL draft pick Anthony Richardson at quarterback with Wisconsin transfer Graham Mertz, who finished last year with a 57.3 completion percentage, 2,136 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. It will be interesting to see where Florida falls in a loaded Southeastern Conference East, and predictions show them anywhere from 3rd in the division to last. Utah is the reigning Pac-12 champion and has won it in back-to-back years. The Utes are moving to the Big 12 soon, but for this year they would like one more Pac-12 title on their way out the door. They are returning 88% of the production of their offense, including quarterback Cam Rising. Despite most experts having them as high as number 1 in the conference, they currently have the 4th best odds to win it at DraftKings. It is a loaded conference, especially at the top, and the Utes could use a good non-conference win if they want their playoff aspirations to come true. Utah is looking to not only win the conference for a 3rd year in a row, but also to make the college football playoff for the first time in school history. Those are high long-term expectations, but in the short term, the Utes want to avenge their loss to Florida. Last year's game was their only loss to a non-top 25 team, and they led for much of that game but lost it in the 4th quarter. They will remember that and have been thinking about it all offseason. Boosted by some transfers, you could argue they will be even better this year. Florida is returning only 55% of its production on offense and 53% on defense, and replacing their star quarterback plus 4 offensive linemen. Utah is 14-0 straight up at home in its last 14 games, 13-1 straight up in Week 1, and was 5-0 against the spread in August last season. Compare that to Florida, which went 1-7 straight up in its last 8 road games. This is Graham Mertz's first game with the Gators, but his completion percentage has decreased every season he has been in college football. The Utes are home for this game, not having a lot of changes on the offensive side of the football and only have a few injuries. Utah has been a force, winning the Pac-12 Conference Championship 2 consecutive years, and continues to get stronger, while Florida has gotten considerably weaker with the departure of Anthony Richardson. The Utes are looking to start their season with a win and avenge a stinging loss from last year. Go with the veteran, experienced home team to win by at least a touchdown. So the Utah Utes to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. These two teams met in the opener last season and combined for 55 points in Florida's 29-26 win. Neither one of these teams are top-tier defensive units, and both are more offensive-minded. Utah was 11th in the nation in points scored per game with 39 points per game, and Florida has not improved their defense enough to be able to slow them down, especially playing at Utah. Florida will likely air it out more this year than they did with Richardson, which could result in a faster-paced game and more possessions for Florida. Both teams have had a lot of turnover on defense, and they were not all-time defenses last year. The offenses were good last year, and there shouldn't be much of a drop-off from last season. Utah still has Cam Rising at quarterback and averaged 38 points per game last season. Although Florida was not as impressive at 29 points per game, their new quarterback should be able to make a solid start. With the total set at just 46, I see this game blowing through that pretty easily. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.